Hollywood just cannot help themselves. What in the heck is wrong with them? Now, when I say this, I mean, maybe if you haven't been paying attention, you've seen the whole 2 year debacle that was Rachel Zegler trying to promote Snow White, but doing everything in the absolute, doing everything in her power to demote the movie. And look what, she was successful with that. Well, now with a new thing that's supposed to actually be a Kickstarter for the MCU again, try to give it some legs again. Oh, yeah, they're doing the same thing. These people don't learn anything. They learn absolutely nothing because we've got some news. And it's not only just one person doing it. Now, there's multiple people of the cast doing it. Fantastic Four. The first teaser trailer was actually pretty well received. It seemed like it was non-offensive. Well, guess what? What is, I guess, more offensive is now that the press tour has started, people just feel the need to open their mouths. You wait for YouTube. Like, look at us. You open your mouth on YouTube. You don't do it on a press tour whenever you're trying to promote a movie. For goodness sakes, how stupid are you? Fantastic Four First Steps makes politically charged MCU changes to characters centered on gender politics and masculinity. Because that's what we want. Because that's what's been working for the last 8 years. Yeah, that's totally been working. But this is supposed to jumpstart your new franchise, or basically not your new franchise. This is supposed to jumpstart a dead franchise. The MCU is rolling the dice again with Fantastic Four First Steps, the 37th entry in the MCU. Also, this is the third time that they've tried to bring the Fantastic Four to the theater screen. And it might be its most ideologically loaded to date. I don't necessarily agree with that. And let's see what they have to say, because according to this article and multiple articles, I think there's one on Deadline, there's one on Variety, there's one on IndieWire. This film represents significant Fantastic Four MCU changes that will see a wild departure from classic depictions from the first family. The first family of Marvel is the Fantastic Four. So how are we going to change that family dynamic? I have a feeling it has something to do with hormone blockers, but that's just a joke. While set in an alternate 1960s inspired universe, First Steps isn't just aiming for period flair, because what is Johnny Storm going to get a period? All right, anyway, digressions aside, it's clearly designed to reframe the Fantastic Four through a very modern lens, because that's what modern audiences actually show up to the movie theater for, right? Every time you've done this, it is blown up in your face. Well, if at first you don't succeed, try again. So let's start with Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. What is he known for being? He's known for being a hothead. He's known for sleeping around, and he's known for basically pump and dump, hit it and quit it. But actor Joseph Quinn, who is playing Johnny Storm, openly questions whether the classic version of the character, the brash woman-chasing hotshot that Chris Evans brought to life in the 2005 film, still belongs on screen today. Does it belong on screen to stay true to the source material? You decide. These are his own words. He was branded as this womanizing devil-may-care guy, but is that sexy these days? So he just wants to be a sex symbol. That's what it seems like to me. What's sexy these days is that men are better at femininity than women are, because we're better at you than everything. Oh, I guess you didn't think about it in those terms. But women are completely compliant whenever it goes along this line of thinking, because you know what? Despite how they want to just do everything, even though they can't, and that's totally fine. There's a difference between the genders. There's a reason why we were created differently. We're supposed to complete each other, not be the best all-encompassing thing. We are not gods. Anyway, this is another tangent. Quinn asks, I don't think so. This version of Johnny is less callous with other people's feelings. Why would you be less callous? I mean, the original Johnny wasn't dropping N-bombs like I do, and hopefully there's a self-awareness about what's driving that attention-seeking behavior. Maybe pussy feels good. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe be able to fly, light yourself ablaze with fire, and fly around and like shoot fireballs and all that kind of. Maybe that's cool as shit. And so you want to be known for it. I don't know, because Reed Richards is one of the smartest people on the planet. He is married to Sue Storm, which is his sister. And By the way, his older sister, who also has a lot of laud and honor bestowed upon her name. So, yes, he's the young child. Oh my gosh, it's almost like there's character development. That was in the comics, not going to be in this one. Quinn's Johnny is now defined less by fire and flare and more by introspection and social calibration, which goes completely against the way that he was written. He's not supposed to introspect, he's supposed to act. And that gets the group into a lot of bad decisions. Think about it this way, because this is on my mind, the prequels, when Anakin was coming up. And Obi-Wan is constantly berating him. Who's like, no, 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 you have a whole lot of talent, but you keep making these harebrained decisions, losing things in the process. Your lightsaber is your life. But he's trying to be taught the entire way because he has the flare, because he has the fire in a different sense than Johnny Storm's fire. And it's all a learning experience. The old swashbuckling charm has been swapped for sensitivity because I don't know. Gay. Also, he must have like a soy injection in his body. Yet another note of the notable Fantastic Four MCU changes. Fans may not have expected or wanted. Fans won't want it. You are tanking your movie. You're just doing, you're just ramping it up. It took Rachel Zegler 2 years to completely destroy Snow White. You're trying to fast track that. Let's condense it all and do it in a matter of a couple of weeks. Because Sue Storm, Vanessa Kirby, this is the actress that's playing it, portrayed as both pregnant and politically powerful. Why not? Because we can't get that person in the office, the head of the Future Foundation and architect of global peace. Now, this is starting to sound a little bit of something like Snow White. Kirby describes Sue not as a superhero, but as a commentary on modern motherhood and womanhood. Modern motherhood. Modern motherhood would mean you drop your kids off with someone, don't pay them, or use your husband's money, and you go to the local seedy pub. Modern womanhood is you cheat on your man with your drug dealer at said local pub and end up fucking in a dirty bathroom stall. Don't tell your kids, though, and you only tell your man 9 months later when the baby comes out black. Or, hey, black people aren't the only guys that get to cut people. Sometimes they're of a different, and I'm going to stop that one. You know what I was going to say. One of the things I love most, and this is her words now, one of the things I love most from Sue's history is when she becomes Malice and all her dark stuff comes out. Like when she's sitting on the toilet after a big old coffee date early in the morning while she's been cucking her husband. I should probably get off of that tangent. But she goes on to say, I was obsessed with that chapter of her life where all the dark stuff came out. Yeah, everyone has a dark side. Everyone has emotions and feelings. Are they necessarily pertinent to a story, to a character arc? Are they necessarily like that? Now, this character arc in the comic books actually was, but this is not what she's trying to portray. She's trying to use this as a scapegoat to defend and excuse her own actions whenever she says the next thing. I wanted to make sure that there were tones of malice in there with her, that she wasn't just the stereotype of a goody, sweet mother. Because who can have a beautiful, sweet, good mother in today's world? Who can do that? Come to the South. Good gracious. You have 3 generations of good, sweet mothers. I've always been really interested in the mess of femininity. The mess. That's why you buy tampons. And how can you be both? How can you be all the things? It's easy. It's easy and yet not easy at the same thing to be all the things. First of all, the first thing you have to realize is that you can't be all the things. You play to your strengths and you look, if you're a woman, you look for a man who fills up your weaknesses. And that's what men do whenever they're looking for possible mates. They have their strengths, they also have their weaknesses and their blind spots, and they look for a woman that completes them. It's almost like they leave their families to become one, they complete each other. It's a tale as old as time. It's a tale as old as the fucking Bible. Not just a tough, invincible, powerful woman, but also a mother who gives birth, which is itself a superhero act. Ladies, no one is telling you that giving birth is easy. No one is saying that, but I think you should remember that as long as you're trying to keep it a two-parent household, with a lot of you don't do anymore, and a lot of you just keep wanting to abort it, as long as you keep a two-parent household, that man is there with you through everything. He puts up with all your stuff. He comforts you. He holds your hand while you're pushing it out. He does everything you can while you have to take maternity leave and all that. He is working to make sure that you are taken care of. Men are the providers. Women are the nurturers. This is the natural way of things. Now, I know Hollywood, and not only Hollywood, but the entire earth is trying to completely upset the balance. But this is the reason why Fantastic Four and Sue Storm were written this way. Well, I'm not going to be a 60s woman anymore. So, the atomic family is basically dead because of the way that you're thinking right now. And people are more upset than ever. Self endings have they constantly progress. So, what do you want to do? You want to progressively make it worse as a fucking idiot by changing the way that people think. The implication is clear. I went off on a lot of rants on this one. The Sue of old isn't acceptable anymore. Why would you be a classy, upstanding, respectable maternal figure? Why would you do that anymore? You happened upon great powers, and you were always very responsible with these powers. Why would you want to change that? Would you want, that is something that people look up to, almost like an actual hero, something people can aspire to because they have their normal lives. They are someone who's doing all this kind of stuff, and they are imbued with special powers, and they learn how to use them for the betterment of not only society, but for the betterment of the situations at hand and the betterment of their own lives. Why would we want to look up to anybody else like that anymore? No, nowadays in modern Hollywood, it seems like women just have to do it all. Well, guess what? You can't. Reed Richards, oh golly, we have to talk about this dude again, played by Pedro Pascal, is reimagined not only as the MCU's smartest man, but as a utopian visionary building a new society alongside Sue. Alongside or a couple of steps behind her, because this is like inverse Muslimism. And I know that's not a word, Islamism, whatever. We'll go with that. This is what it seems like to me. And this is exactly how he is. So if they're all putting their own personal stuff into their characters, and if he's doing the same thing, that's exactly how it's going to come across. Director Shackman describes them as a couple constructing a better world. So it's going to be communist. We had that in Snow White. I know this is a callback to what I said earlier. Snow White was like, oh yeah, we'd all be happier if it was a communistic society. This is kind of seeming the same way. If he is the most scientifically intelligent person, then she is the most emotionally intelligent person on the planet. Between the two of them, they're building an idealistic society. Look at those words. If they don't make you cringe, it basically means that you're not thinking in the same way as these people are thinking. This is straight up propaganda. And oh my goodness, we're going a little bit long, so I'm just going to cut it off right there. This article goes a little bit more into it and basically explains what I just talked about a little bit. It's going to go into communist world building. They're pushing messages. It is at least from the director's own mouth and from two of the stars' own mouths. Pedro Pascal did not have a quote on this. That was the director and two of the actors. From their own mouths, they are changing everything you knew about the comics. So if you like the comics, basically don't show up. We didn't even get into the female Silver Surfer, which does exist in the comics, but not in this time frame. And they're skipping a gigantic story with the original one, who was male. Yes, they're shoving all their bullshit into it. I wasn't excited for it. The first teaser trailer, I was like, yeah, I don't really feel anything. But now they're basically giving us spoilers before we see any more. At least that's how I feel about it. How do y'all feel? Leave it down in the comment section below. This is Malty. I am Malty. Hear me roar. Also, bye. Because this film is, according to this article, and obviously multiple articles, and because according to this, go away. Bum, 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 bum. Let's rave. Boom, doom, doom.